Want to sell your drum kit? It's really easy to sell your old drum equipment to us at Drumshack. We offer a hassle and haggle-free solution. All you need to do is follow these steps. Take some photos of your kit, upload to the Drumshack second-hand portal or send us an email. We then send you a quote. If you're happy with the offer and you're local, simply bring your kit into the store. If not, for a small fee, we'll arrange to pick up the goods. Oh yeah, don't forget your photo ID. We offer part exchange or cash for your goods. Job done. To find out how much your drum kit is worth, get in touch today.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for tuning in. This is Drumshack from Home Edition, and me, I'm Marco. Streaming live from my corridor, sat behind this wonderful drum kit. We've done a couple of videos already, couple of live streaming in the past few days where I've gone through what I'm doing here, but we'll go through all of that. Main thing is that everyone is being staying safe indoor, taking care of each other, and looking after us and the people around us. But without further ado, I'm gonna go on the drums. In the past few days, we've seen what this kit is. If you've missed those streaming, you can just go back and have a look at them. They're all on our YouTube page. You can find them from our Facebook on our Facebook account. Um, just just tune in. If you are already following our YouTube account and our Facebook, then you probably have got a notification already. Otherwise, feel free to join us, join our community, click subscribe, and feel free to leave a comment, feel free to turn on the notification, all the usual stuff. Just to cut back to the drums, what we've got here is a Tama Club Jam Mini. So we've got an 18x7 bass drum and a 12x5 snare drum using meshed. I've converted this for peace of mind of everyone in my neighborhood and my flatmates. I've converted the whole drum kit to a silent kit using mesheds, and I'm using the Siljan L80s to have proper cymbal that feel like you're playing a real cymbal without the volume, or at least 80% reduction of volume. That's what they say on the box, and I can tell they are quiet. What we've got here in terms of heads, we've got Remo Silent Stroke and Z Triple X. We've spoke about these drum head in the last streaming that we did a couple of days ago, and I've also added a Roland PDX12 pad, which I'm using as a floor tom. Um, I might this. I'm using it on a snare stand because again, this drum kit is been set up in my corridor. We are still using the corridor for normal, uh, you know, life activity, house activities. So that's also why this drum kit is amazing, and I've found it incredibly practical in this situation because I can just push it back against the wall and off it goes. It's just extremely practical, really compact. It sounds great. We usually have one of these always set up in the store with normal drum heads on. The store at the minute is closed, and that's why I've got the shop floor model here at home. But our online shop is still open, so if you fancy getting yourself anything for practicing, just hit our website, and our guys at the delivery department, they're still doing their job. Uh, Thank to all the delivery drivers, which are still delivering goods to us and from us to all our customer. So a big thank to all the key worker that are doing their job in this extremely um, unconventional time, I'd say. Um, I've converted this drum kit, as I was saying, from an acoustic drum kit into a quiet practice kit with mesh heads and with the use of the EAD10. I'm hoping you have a bit of a view of the module from where you are. I'm gonna turn it a little bit in your favor, so maybe you can see it a little bit better. What this is a incredible unit. It is very practical way to convert your acoustic drums or your mesh kit into a hybrid or fully electronic drum kit. It's got a sensor unit. I showed it last time that you mount on your bass drum rim, and you can expand it with up to other three triggers, one of which is a double trigger. So I'm using that slot for my RT50S. On the snare drum is a dual trigger with this amazing diecast um, cover on it, so no problems with accidental hits of your drumstick. As I said, I'm using. Oh, that sense. I'm using the PDX12 from Roland, which usually is the snare pad that comes with the TD17 KV and KVX models. Um, but I'm using it as a floor tom, just plugged on the main unit, and everything is going from the triggers into the unit, USB cable into my USB port, and that's what I'm using as my interface. Microphone is the sensor unit on the bass drum has the microphone on the top, so you can use the talkback, which I'm not doing now. Now you're gonna hear quite a jump in my vocal volume. There we go. Haha, that probably sounds better now. At yours. Um, Other features of this thing, you've got a incredible number of drum kit already plugged on, programmed on the unit, and you can customize the sound. Um, in pretty much an endless way. You have reverb, you have effects, you have triggers, you have loads of stuff. We went through all of these in the last session. I'm sure we will go through them again today a little bit more. But without further ado, I want to I want to showcase to you how amazing is this thing. So last time we went. I'm going to go back in playing mode. Um, Last time we showed how quiet this drum kit is, and I'm going to do it again today by taking all the triggers off. That is really really quiet. But then I can bring the trigger all the way up. These sound like real drum to me. Even the sensitivity on the pads is really good. You can do a press or a buzz very articulate double stroke rolls on both the snare and the tom tom. Uh, the snare, the bass drum as well is very responsive, and you have the microphone on the top. Um, as I was using it now I'm using real samples from the Yamaha sample library. These are the same samples that they use on their electronic drum kit, and they've been sampled from their acoustic drum kit. So you have like a range of like maple custom drums and recording custom, which is birch custom, beech custom, oak custom. You have all the electronic, the acoustic Yamaha samples, and they sound incredible. You can tweak the tuning as well. As I was saying last time, the user interface of this unit is very easy to use. It is very easy to go in depth uh, into customizing your sound, and you also have a internal memory where you can load your own sound. Um, I have to say I haven't had the need to load any of my sound because I've been able to tweak a lot of the sound already on the interface to get pretty much everything that I needed to do in these last few days, and that includes from practicing normal standard drum kit practice to electronic play along to electronic tracks, um, hip hop, EDM, you name it. I've tried a few things. You have a massive choice of percussion instrument as well. So if you want to study your Latin beats, all you have to do, for example, is take this tom and replace it with perhaps a cowbell. More cowbell, someone said. Um, so you can do. It's a really good sounding cowbell. You can do a lot of these things. You can change. I was fun yesterday using. You can hear some. You can hear some vibration coming into the microphone because, for sake of having a compact kit, the Tama Club Gem comes as standard with a cymbal mount on the top of the bass drum, and you can add a cymbal arm. They do sell that separately. I'm using here a Gibraltar cymbal arm, and you don't need a tripod anymore. You have your ride cymbal just exactly where you want it. Most of the time, most drummers will have their ride cymbal in this kind of position. I feel it extremely natural. Um, I usually would have it probably a little bit higher, um, and for some of the rockiest gig, maybe a little bit lower. It look a little bit more proper. Um, and you have extremely adjustability with these things, but it's exactly where you want it. It's extremely ergonomical, and because you don't have a tripod, you save a lot of floor space. Um, as we were saying before, I have it in my corridor. My room is quite small, um, so I have it in my corridor, and having a small footprint is quite essential most of the times. This is like the most practical drum kit I've ever played. Um, Once again, at the minute, I was just running the triggers. Here we have a different choice of triggers. We have it is amazing, kind of distorted a TD8 sound, T8, T9 sound. We have another electronic snare drum, and we have this very dirty snare drum here on my right hand side. Obviously, you can again change all the sounds, and these are literally just the triggers. I can on the top of the triggers add reverb and effect, as I was showing a couple of days ago. And let's do that. We can go. Here we have a phaser, for instance, that we can. That is funky. And this effects are all triggered from the microphone. If you want to add effects on the actual drums, you can, and you can do it separately. Last time we had a question if you were able to use different effects, and I wasn't really able to answer to the question because I hadn't been fiddling with this toy for too long. Um, I actually I actually went on and found a way to put different fun like the way to put different effects on different drums. Um, and you can do it separately from the microphone, so you can have a layer of effects for the triggers and a layer of effect for the microphone, which is really good if you consider that now the microphone is picking up the very quiet noise that these drums and cymbal make, and my voice obviously, but this is extremely useful when you use it with acoustic drum, because that will pick up also your rack tom, your floor tom, your cymbal, your snare drum, and will apply that effect to all the acoustic sounds surrounding it. Let me quickly go into the menu, and we'll show you what to do with the effects. So I go into my menu, I go into scene edit. Yeah, scene edit, and I go on effect. Absolutely. Let me just do this. Ooh. Wonderful. This is one of the effects that you can use on the microphone. Obviously, you can sing in it and sound like you're in space, or you can just play your drums and have that kind of drum sound. Um, Lunging on that actually makes me think of some a lot of drummers in the past that they've used echoes and delay effect. John Bonham and Stuart Copeland come to mind, that they've used extensively effects on their drum to make them sound more interesting. But also from a production point of view, there's loads of things that you can do with effect. But let's go back to the triggers effect. So we are in menu and scene edit and effects. And now I've got no effect on my drums, but I can change that and put some flanger, for instance. Pretty interesting. Um, and like this, I've got the same effect that you can put on the mic, you can put it on the drums. So you have phasing effect, ring modulation, and you can have one of my favorite effects. It's actually distortion. So you can pick a acoustic, standard acoustic drum kit, um, like one of my favorite, which is the user Maple. Let's make this sound like a floor tom. This is like the trigger, the sample they give for a Maple custom low tom. But if I want it lower, I can easily go into menu and go into my voice settings. So menu, scene, voice. And tune it down. This sounds. Even the snare drum. I think I want the snare drum tuned a little bit higher. So I'll just tune the snare drum. That's a bit too high. Yeah, that sounds much more like a kit I would normally play. Like I would tune. How would I tune the snare drum normally? Another thing that we can see on this drum kit is, as I was saying before, we can go on the effects and on the trigger effect, put some distortion. If the sound, I can tune down also the volume if I want to balance it again. There you have it. You can have distortion, and every trigger you can select how much of the effect you want to get. So you can have a very distorted bass drum and totally clean snare and tom tom, or the other way around, or any kind of hit arounds. Um, you are totally in control of the sound of both the trigger and the microphone. At the minute, I'm running no effect on the microphone actually, on them apart from a little bit of compression, but I can put some distortion as well on the mic. Now you can hear there's some distortion even on my vocals. And now you have distortion everywhere. And this is now I'm going back. Whenever I change a sound, this is a thing that I've learned on my own expenses. That every time you change a sound, If you like what you hear and you want to replicate, you have to save. You have to press the store button. Again, really user friendly interface. You press the store button, and that saves you a new patch. You can overwrite the one that you're using at the minute. I tend to not do that, so I can always go back to the point where I started. And you can store it on a new patch and have the sound that you just created forever on your machine to be recalled at any point. Um, there are loads of there are loads of other effects that you can play with, and a one of the effect that I was really getting into is actually the reverb capability. So you can use the reverb on the microphone and on the kit to just achieve some of those amazing spaces from the past or amazing effects from the past, like gated reverbs or whole reverb or studio reverb straight on your drum kit. I'm going to go back to my standard acoustic drum kit just because it's so nice, the texture of the sound and the way the reverb acts with them. But I'm gonna go back to my Maple custom drum kit. Uh, gonna take the effect off, and at the minute I have a number two studio reverb. This is the dry sound. I'm gonna go back to the floor tom here. So solid and back on the main menu, I push on the reverb button so I can show the unit shows me what reverb I'm on. At the minute, as I said, I'm at 0. You can really tell what is happening on your machine by just looking at it. Um, this is very, very useful. I'm going to turn it a little bit more towards you because it makes more sense looking at it. There you go. I hope this is a little bit more into the camera favor. I can even see it. Ah, there we go. So here we have these three knobs are the knobs that you can control all your effects and reverb and triggers. And these are for the volume, so the level that you're running these things. And it's very intuitive. Um, Now all my red dots are, there's no red dots around the knob. That means that I'm at 0. And you can see if I bring it up, now I'm all the way up with my reverb, and you can tell because you can hear some reverb going on my voice, and I can just bass it, and it's very simple. I've done it in the past actually. If I want to change like the way the drum sound between a verse and a chorus, for instance. Maybe like I want a drier verse, and then in the chorus, when the song is meant to be reaching its apex, you just literally bring it up. And I know that maybe my my verse is here and my chorus is as high as I can go, and then I bring it back. I'm going to show you what this does to the sound. I've got the studio reverb. It's a little bit subtle, but I'm sure you can hear the difference. There you have it. And again, this is like the one of the most subtle reverb that you have. If I go on something like the patch one, you can hear the difference between zero, half, and full a little bit more. Here we go. I went from my corridor to play something like Royal Harbour and back, but just switching and turning this knob. When it flashes here, it means that he's in bypass mode, so there's no effect going through, and that is something that happens when you are in talkback mode, or if you actually go into your effect from one of these buttons and you manually bypass it, so you don't accidentally want anything to happen from there. Um, the talkback mode, we spoke about it last time, but again, it's something that I find it extremely interesting and useful. Once again, uh, I'm I'm going I'm not using anything else than what you see here, and everything is going through my computer, but I'm actually not running anything from my computer apart from the streaming program that we're using to reach you in your on your computer. All the sound comes from the interface, even my voice, all the drum sound, everything goes into the interface and from a USB cable into the USB port of the computer. So I'm using this as my audio source, and I'm able to talk to you, increase the volume of my talking whenever I want to talk from the talkback, or go back in playing mode and be able um, to play music and play drums to you. I want to show you a couple more patches before we go into recording mode, because there is another very interesting. But before we do that, I'm going to give the give this streaming a break. I'm going to go and grab myself a glass of water. Um, Help yourself with one as well. We'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Want to sell your drum kit? It's really easy to sell your old drum equipment to us at Drumshack. We offer a hassle and haggle-free solution. All you need to do is follow these steps. Take some photos of your kit, upload to the Drumshack second-hand portal or send us an email. We then send you a quote. If you're happy with the offer and you're local, simply bring your kit into the store. If not, for a small fee, we'll arrange to pick up the goods. Oh yeah, don't forget your photo ID. We offer part exchange or cash for your goods. Job done. To find out how much your drum kit is worth, get in touch today.
Welcome back, guys. If you've been following this stream so far, thank you very much. And if you just tuned in, or if you tuned in halfway, what we're doing here is going through the setup that I'm using for practice. Tama Club Jam, Yamaha EAD10, Silent Stroke, drum heads, an extra Roland PDX12 uh, pad that I'm using as a floor tom, Zildjian low volume L80. We've done already quite a few videos about those things, about this setup. I've spoke about all the setup quite in depth at the beginning of this video and in the previous few videos. So help yourself; they are all on our YouTube account. Just look up for Drumshack, and if you're already a subscriber, you probably have got a notification if you've got your notifications on. But if you're not, feel free to follow, feel free to check our videos. Let us know what you think. The comment section is open. The comment section of this stream is also open. And if you've got any question or anything that you want to ask us, if you have any doubt, or if you have any comment, because as I was saying earlier, I'm quite new to use this unit. There's a lot of potential into it. I haven't been able to explore all the corners, and if you know something that you've found extremely useful for yourself, please let us know, because um, we would love to. I'm a big fan of this unit. I'm using it for practice, home practice, in this peculiar time, because allows me to still play with a proper acoustic sound, but in a very quiet and sensible way to my neighborhoods, to my flatmates, and allows me to record, because as we were saying, all these triggers and all the sound from the mic goes from the unit through a USB cable straight into my computer, which means that I can connect this interface. At the minute, I've got it on the streaming service that we're using to come live to your houses, but I can connect it and use it as a audio source from for any uh, DAW, so Pro Tools, Cubase, Logic, GarageBand, Ableton, you name it. I can put. A quick question we've got from one of our listeners: how we link the Roland pad is very easy. Everything about this kit is about easiness, is very uncomplicated. The Roland pad has got a uh, input, a jack socket that you just plug your jack. I'm gonna quickly, probably just gonna make, well, if I bring the trigger down, this is it. It is just a standard cable. I took a cable that I had from my guitar setup, but if you do fancy getting one of these PDX12, again, I'm going to show it to you, because this is an amazing pad. They use it on the TD17 KV and KVX as a snare pad. Is actually quite big. The playing surface is 12-inch. That means that the response is quite more similar to a real drum than some of the smaller mesh pads that you can usually find on other drum kit. Um, and also, it comes at a very interesting price point. I believe on our website you can find it at this time at a special price of £142, and it comes with the cable. So really, you don't need anything else than an interface to plug it in, or if you want to expand your previous setup, as I did before, as you've seen, if you've seen our first live session, I was just using the Tama Club Jam, and now I've added this because I fancy the floor tom. Why not? Again, I'm gonna bring this back up. Um, Everything in this setup is extremely easy to plug. Uh, the unit itself, it comes on a mount. I've put it on an extension, but you can place it literally wherever you want. And it comes with a sensor unit, which I'm going to show you now. Hopefully, I won't make too much noise because of the mics on the top. They are very sensible. There we go. Oh, that's the unit that you get. Two mics over here, triggers over here. It's very simple, very easy to use, and it literally out of the box onto your bass drum. You just put it on the rim of your bass drum, and it's already triggering. Can't wait to make a noise this thing. There we have it. Back secured on the bass drum, won't go anywhere. Same thing with the RT50. Very simply, very simple trigger to set up. You've got this amazing chrome die-cast case, so literally there's not a chance that you can ruin this thing by hitting it by mistake. And you have here a screw to put it on. You place it wherever you want on your snare drum, and you just screw it back on. I didn't even spend too much time fiddling with all the sensitivity. You can obviously um, customize the sensitivity of the triggers to your own likes. I had to spend a little bit of time with the Roland pad because the gain of the pad itself was a little bit higher than the Yamaha triggers, but that's something you can really easily do from the menu. I'm going to go back in menu mode. So from the menu, you go into trigger and you go pad type. And from here, you can change the sensitivity, you can change the gain, and you can change a few other parameters like the lowest and the highest velocity that you want to achieve. Um, and few other things like the balance. In the case of the RT50 is a dual trigger, so I've got it to trigger my main head and the rim on. I can also split the signal, but I like it this way because it gives me a little bit more of a traditional drum kind of feel. So if I want a little bit more volume, I will just rim. I'll just rim shot the snare drum, and I can actually tell the unit how much gain I want for that rim shot. Um, there's also like you can set up cross-talking because with acoustic drums sometimes you do have some sympathetic vibration which might trigger other other triggers. Pardon. Um, but you can also set the trigger crosstalk, so you won't have that issue anymore. Mm, I've changed. Oh, I've changed to Live Set 2, which is another one of my favorite. Is user 017. Um, the unit scenes go from the program to the user. User section is usually the one that you create, and the programs are the one that Yamaha put them in at the beginning when you get this unit. There's actually an upgrade on the Yamaha website I invite everyone that maybe has got this already but didn't know there is an upgrade, or people that are thinking about getting one. Head on the Yamaha website, and you can find a new firmware version. So you go to firmware 2.0, and you have a whole lot of new setups and samples that Yamaha has put together in the new upgrade, and I like them really much. This is Life Kit number 2. I've been using this quite a lot. I'm gonna go again. This is in the trigger input. They usually I would have for a high tone. I'm gonna just simply push on trigger, and I have very low tone. And here I can quickly choose to go to one of my favorite reverbs. Probably someone that has watched the streaming on Thursday will know it already. Gate. And this is a tight gate. You have a bit more of a Phil Collins style of gate in his gate reverb 2. And obviously this reverb is actually applying to the triggers and also to the microphone. Now imagine what that can do in your acoustic setup. With that effect, you can change the sound of your acoustic drum kit for every song of your live show, if you're going to use this in a live show. Because again, you can use this in a live show. It's very easy. As we've said, the setup um, is extremely streamlined. It's extremely simple, and you have a standard left and right output that you can put into your mixer. So I'm thinking to all the gigs where you don't usually have a sound engineer, or you have a sound engineer that you've never worked with, and you want to use your sound. You have like maybe different vibe, different songs, and different drum sound. We see it all every day. We listen to an album from any artist nowadays, and the drum sound will be different for every song. We go from like psychedelia with Tame Impala to the most pop and R&B artist, We go into new jazz with like Thundercat and Flying Lotus. Um, all these artists, you will have different drum sound for different songs, because it's a production exercise. And if you want to bring that to the stage now with this thing, with this unit, you totally can. It's very, very easy. And you can have different effect. Again, you can save your scenes. You don't have to modify it. You can just save a preset and make it sound as you want for that song and change it for the following one. So very, 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 very useful. Another another very useful um, thing that this unit can do, you can record yourself. You can record yourself. There's a very easy button here called recorder. You've got a metronome, so it's very good for practice. You can use it in standalone mode for recording, but that is capped to 1 minute 30, just because it records at a very good sample rate. By that I mean that for people that are not too savvy with the language, the lingo of recording, it records at really high quality. Um, you won't have if you record for a long time, you will run out of space. So that is capped to 1.30 minutes, which for most exercises is enough. If you want to record yourself doing an exercise and listen back away from the drum kit, 1.30 minute is a very good time. Otherwise, you can plug a USB stick inside and record onto the USB stick, and that gives you um, unlimited option. Really, the limit is how big is the USB stick. And that's it. You can also import music from your computer to the unit. You can obviously has got a auxiliary in, and you can stream music straight from the computer to the unit. But you can also record from the auxiliary cable. Um, I'm going to do a quick experiment, uh, and what I want to do is to record. I've got here the one of the tracks from my original band. A little bit of shameless plugging, but no, really, it's all about copyright. We don't want to break any copyright. This is music that with my band we wrote together and we release it. So I'm gonna try and record this into the unit, and then I'm going to show you how I can play along to the track. I'm going to quickly go into the recorder mode, switch to aux in recording. You probably can't hear what is happening. This is uh, this is just recording into the unit, um, and from the computer, the auxiliary signal into the unit. I'm going to record just a minute just to see how it works. Alright, 50 seconds. Wicked. So I'm going to save this on the unit. And now I do have, pause this one, and now I can probably, mhm, let's see, works. So there is, I don't know how the streaming of the music that I've got on the unit actually works. This is the first time that we try, and I can hear it in my headphones, so I'm totally able to play on uh, like the. Let's see if we go into. Yeah, yeah. I think if we load, no. Okay, guys, that didn't really work out as I was hoping. Um, the great thing is that I can play along anything that I've got on my computer, which includes YouTube tracks, which includes Spotify. I can play along pretty much everything. Um, you can record again what you want into your unit, making it completely standalone. So if you want to have, let's say, um, all the discography from an artist, or you are studying a few tracks for your rock school diploma or whatever, but you don't want to bring your laptop or your computer to your rehearsal room, you can simply record them through the unit on a USB stick, and and you're set to go. All you need to bring is this, and you can play along all the tunes that you want. um, you can also record yourself. Unfortunately, I can't show that because there is a big feedback loop because of the camera and the mics. Um, but I'm sure you that is great. You can record yourself using just the triggers and the mic again for practicing, and you can also connect the interface to your phone and use the Yamaha Rec and Share uh, tool, which is uh, which is simply brilliant. I'm trying to find other words, but it's simply brilliant. If you have music in your library, you can load music from your library, and the software detects automatically the speed of the track. And once the software analyzes the track, you can speed it up or slow it down, so you can really analyze some section that might be a little bit tricky at full speed. You can speed them down 50%, 60%, 70%, and just play along and practice until you get it nice and tight and move on until you can play them at full speed. I have tried some some stuff that I've been working on, especially like breakbeat and stuff that sometimes are a little bit complicated at full speed, even just understand why it is happening. But if you slow them down, they are very approachable. And once you know what is happening, you can then speed it up and practice to get it full speed. I'm gonna go a little bit more into the playing, if you don't mind. There's loads of other other kits here. Once again, amazing. The quality of the samples here on the unit is just off the scale. I was listening to the recordings that I did using this interface a couple of days ago, and the actual quality is really good. The samples and the way the unit translate the sound from the samples from the unit to your computer is excellent. So I would totally use this unit also to record, um, and implement the sound of my drum kit. Um, what else have we got? I'm, I am going to try a little bit more of one of my favorite effects. As I was saying before, you can just take one of the effects out by just pushing the bypass button, and you can see the effect is flashing, which means that is not on. And then I can either touch the knob or touch the bypass button, and the effect comes back on straight away. Same thing goes for the reverb. I can go into reverb and bypass it, and you can see it's flashing. Before we go into the final bit of this live stream, I am going to put some more effect on the drum kit just to show the full potential of the how you can change sounds. You can change the sounds of this drum kit. And I'm gonna go again in scene edit from the menu, FX, and change my trigger effect to ring modulation as well, and put a healthy bit of ring modulation all over my kit. Let's see how this sounds. once again, this drum set in this configuration, it's just fun. It's just fun to play. There's so much to it that I would suggest this to anyone that is into getting a practice kit, especially this time, because what else we can do? We are cooking. We are hopefully trying to stay healthy, and we can practice. We can practice. It's a great time to improve one's skills. So I hope you found this interesting and useful, and we're gonna have a few more live session. We also have a TD17 KVX coming in the next week or so, and we will look into that kit because there is another amazing option for practicing without annoying everyone in a 5 miles radius. Thank you very much for watching. It's Marco again, Drumshack Home Edition. Check our social, check our website if you fancy anything. We're still delivering everything straight from our warehouse to your door. Thank you again for sticking by, and I'll see you next time. Bye now.
Want to sell your drum kit? It's really easy to sell your old drum equipment to us at Drumshack. We offer a hassle and haggle-free solution. All you need to do is follow these steps. Take some photos of your kit, upload to the Drumshack second-hand portal or send us an email. We then send you a quote. If you're happy with the offer and you're local, simply bring your kit into the store. If not, for a small fee, we'll arrange to pick up the goods. Oh yeah, don't forget your photo ID. We offer part exchange or cash for your goods. Job done. To find out how much your drum kit is worth, get in touch today.